The UDRcast is not affiliated and does not represent any 12-step fellowship. I, Bill Ward, the host of the UDRcast, will be sharing my experience and my journey of recovery. That does include, but is not limited to, the literature contained in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps. Our guests will be sharing their own path to recovery and what has worked for them. The UDRcast encourages and supports all paths to recovery. Welcome everybody to the UDRcast. UDR stands for Uncover, Discover, and Recover. My name is Bill Ward, and I'm coming to you from the recovery capital of Canada, Calgary, Alberta. Here we are going to discuss everything recovery, different perspectives, different experiences, both with the people I know and with others from around the world. If you resonate with anything you've heard on this episode today, we ask that you share it with anyone who you think may benefit from it. If you have any questions or comments, please find us at billward.life and send us a message in the info section. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. If you are interested in more recovery content, you can find the buttons for the YouTube channel and other social media outlets on the homepage, and you will be redirected to those platforms. We can recover, one person, one family, one community at a time. I'd like to talk about self-reflection. I think that's kind of the name of the game of what this program is, right? The first step is, admitting to my innermost self that I'm an alcoholic. That's the first step in recovery. Without that deep self-reflection of what I actually am and admitting that at a deep level, this rest of this shit doesn't even work, right? It's a deep concession. And then, I get into the actual step work. I make this decision in step 3 that if I'm new, I think I know what it is. But the reality is somebody new has no fucking idea what this step actually means. You don't have an idea of what this step means until you get into the actual self-reflection of what step 4 is. An honest analysis of what and who I really am. And that comes through the step 4, the third and the fourth column. Comes through looking at my fears, looking at how I'm driven by 100 forms of fear, how I set the ball rolling, but the fear is always the beginning of me causing a lot of pain in my life and other people's lives. And then I look at the sex conduct and I look at, I think I'm a great guy in relationships and I got, I'm loving, I'm kind, I'm giving, I'm all these things. And then I realize I've never had a relationship with anybody in my life other than myself. So it's an honest analysis of what and who I really am. And I'm humbled to a point where I'm shooken up. I'm shook into my foundation because everything I believed about myself is actually something way different. And I don't really like what I'm looking at. And that self-reflection and the humbled humility and humiliation through the 4 and the 5 are setting me up for the step 6, which is where I change. The willingness, honesty to try repeatedly change on step 6 on all my faults, all of them, not part of them, all of them, without reservation. Then I'll grow spiritually. That's what that step's all about. It's about change. So I implement this change and then I get into the 8 and 9. Well, what is 9? If I'm procrastinating and denying, step 6 is where I'm fucking doing more of this change. And I have to do that. Or I risk drinking again. It reminds me in step 9 in the book. It was noted that I would go to any length way back in step 4 for victory over alcohol. And then it reminds me again, if that's not good enough, that the hope and maintenance of a spiritual experience is also what I wanted back in step 4. So I gotta do this shit. And how well do I want to be? Do I want to be fully recovered or do I want to be part recovered? Like what I like here in the 7, it talks about we are under heavy pressure and coercion to do the right thing. That's what step 9 is about, step 6 and 9. We are obliged to choose between the pains of trying or the certain fucking penalties of failing to do so. These initial steps along the road are taken grudgingly. yet we do take them. I hope we're taking them, because my life fucking depends on this shit. Most guys don't make it 2 years sober. Most of them don't even make it 1, but guaranteed, if you fucking around, you ain't making it 2 years. And I'll tell you, during this COVID thing, there's been tons of people dying because people are slacking and they're not doing what they're supposed to do. And if you're an alcoholic and drug addict, you got fucking 2 alternatives. That's the way I see it with the men I've sponsored. You either do this or you don't, and you risk dying. And if you don't actually die, you're dead inside. We all know what that's like. Who the fuck wants to reverse back to that? Right? So we may still have no very high opinion of humility as a desired personal virtue, but we do recognize it as a necessary aid to our survival. This work is a necessity for me. I have to do this stuff. Step 9 is massive, so I'll finish with this. I did some step 9s 2 years into my recovery, changed my life. Did things in my life that I could never have imagined. And that's God working in my life. And I don't know what God's doing or where he's doing it or how he's doing it. He's going to match his gifts to me with the willingness that he sees me working. And like, the world of the spirit doesn't make sense in the world of the material. So I got to remember that, and I got to do this shit anyway. Doesn't matter how I feel or how fearful I am or anything. It's about what I'm doing. And if I ain't doing, I'm reversing and I'm working on the relapse. But if I am doing, no matter how I feel, I'm working on progression in my spiritual life, which is the key to this, right? We claim spiritual progression, rather than spiritual perfection. But it's spiritual is the key part to that. It's not just progress, not perfection. It's spiritual progress, not perfection. So everything I should be doing has a spiritual component. Thank you for tuning in to the UDRcast. We hope you have enjoyed this episode. The viewpoints and the opinions expressed today were solely of the individual sharing them. If you resonated with this episode, please follow us and share this link with anyone that may benefit from it. Please visit us at Billwardlife to see everything that we have going on. We can recover, one person, one family, one community at a time.